Hello everyone, welcome to Excel Star Learners tutoring platform. Now in this segment of the tutorial, we'll be learning about how to solve this nice IGCSE math question. Okay, we have a 3D figure on the board. Okay, so now the question reads, the diagram shows a solid figure made from a cylinder, okay, and a hemisphere. So this is a cylinder. This is a cylinder. So this is hemisphere. So we have hemisphere, okay? So this is hemisphere. So this is hemisphere, okay? So this is hemisphere, okay? And we have a cylinder. So the cylinder and the hemisphere, they form the solid figure. All right, so both the cylinder and the hemisphere have a diameter of 5.8 centimeters. So that means, when diameter is the chord which is drawn through the center of a circle to touch to touch 2 points on the circumference. So which means the diameter of the hemisphere is the same as the diameter of the what? Of the cylinder. So we have the diameter. This is the diameter. Okay, this is the diameter, okay, and it's the same for the cylinder. So the diameter is 5.8 centimeters. It's same as 5.8 centimeters. So the length of the solid figure is 9.7. So the length, okay, the length from the hemisphere to the base of the cylinder is 9.7 centimeters. Now the question is for us to calculate the volume of the solid figure and then to give our answer to three significant figures. Okay, let's get into the video. All right, so now we have, first we need to analyze the figure. Okay, now to analyze the figure, like I said, the length, we need to know what is the length of the cylinder. Okay, to know the length of the cylinder, because we are giving the length of the solid figure, not the length of the cylinder. Okay, so if we are given the length of the solid figure, so we need to first calculate the radius of the cylinder, which is the same as the radius of the hemisphere. So this is the hemisphere. Okay, this is the hemisphere. This shape is the what? Hemisphere. Hemisphere is half of a sphere. Okay, a sphere. Okay, a sphere. When we talk about a spherical object, okay, now a spherical object has 4 circles, okay, but in an hemisphere, that's half of it. Okay, half of a sphere is what? Is hemisphere. So we have this hemisphere, okay, and then we have a cylinder. So these two shapes are melted together, to form the solid figure. All right, so now, so to calculate the length of the cylinder, because when a cylinder is placed on its side, not when it is placed on maybe on its circular base, okay, now that will be vertical, but in this case it is placed along its horizontal cross section. So in that case we need the length of the cylinder. So to be able to calculate the length of the cylinder, so first let's set up the formula, okay, the volume formula for the what? For the solid figure. Okay, so to calculate the volume of the solid figure, so we have volume of solid figure. The volume of solid figure will be equals to, okay, volume of cylinder, okay, plus volume of hemisphere. Okay, volume of cylinder equals to volume of hemisphere. That's the first thing to do. Okay, we know that volume of cylinder plus volume of hemisphere will be equals to the volume of the figure. Then also we are given that the diameter of the cylinder and the diameter of the hemisphere are the same. So which means we can also have the diameter of cylinder, okay, is equals to diameter of hemisphere, equals to diameter of hemisphere. Okay, so which means we know the diameter to be, so diameter is d, and we know that diameter is equal to 2 times radius. So we need to find out the radius of the cylinder, which is the same as the radius of the what? Hemisphere, because diameter equals to 2 times radius. So we can then say that, so diameter, because diameter is 2r, is equals to 2r. So from here we can say that r equals to d over what? 2. So 1/2 of a diameter is equals to 1 radius. Okay, so we have the diameter to be 5.8. So let me write that here. Diameter is 5.8 centimeters. So which means the radius will be 5.8 divided by 2, and that will be 2.9. Yeah, this should be 2.9. Yeah, 2.9 centimeters. 2.9 centimeters. Okay, so that's the radius. So to calculate the length of the cylinder, now length of the cylinder, okay, is the same as the what? Height of the cylinder. Remember I said when a cylinder is placed along its horizontal cross section, so we can say that it will no longer be what? Height. Okay, it will be the same as what? The length, because to calculate the volume of a cylinder, okay, we're going to multiply area of one of its circular parts, okay, by the height of the cylinder. Okay, so in this case, the length of the cylinder, because it is placed horizontally, okay, so the length of the cylinder will be equals to, let's say the length of the cylinder is LC. Okay, so length of the cylinder will be equals to length of the solid figure. Length of the solid figure, this shape, the length of the solid figure minus the radius. Okay, the radius is just like the distance from, we have the radius is the distance from the center of a circle to its what? Circumference. So the radius is the radius is 2.9. Okay, so we have the radius to be 2.9. So this is 2.9. This is 2.9 centimeters. So if the radius is 2.9 centimeters, now we know that it is a distance from the center. Radius is distance from the center to the circumference. Okay, so in this case, the length of this line, okay, is equals to what? Radius will be equals to radius. So in this case, now we have the hemisphere. Okay, we have the hemisphere, and we know that the radius of the hemisphere is 5.8. So if the radius of the hemisphere is the diameter of the hemisphere is 5.8. So if the diameter of the hemisphere is 5.8, okay, now the radius, so the remaining length, okay, the length of this side, okay, will be what we are going to dash. It will be 2.9. So length of the solid figure minus radius of the hemisphere, that will be 9.7 centimeters minus 2.9 centimeters. So 9.7 minus 2.9, that will be 17 minus 9, that's 8. Okay, so we have 8 minus 2, that will be 6. So this will be 6.8. So we have the length of the cylinder to be 6.8. So remember that to be able to calculate the length of the cylinder, we subtract the radius of the radius of the sphere, the hemisphere, okay, from the what? The length of the figure. All right, so we have the length of the figure to be 6.8 centimeters. So now let's calculate the volume of cylinder. Now, volume of cylinder is equals to pi r square h. Okay, and I said L equals to h, and that's equals to, so L is now 6.8 centimeters. So we can then write the volume, okay, volume of cylinder to be equals to pi times the radius. Now the radius is 2.9, so we have 2.9 raised to the power of 2, then multiply by the height, which is 6.8. So let's get the value of 2.9 to the square, multiply by 6.8, then multiply by the value of pi, which is 3.1416. Okay, so that will be 3.142. Okay, so that will be 179.68. So the volume of the cylinder is 179.68 cubic centimeters. So this is the volume of the cylinder. Okay, that's the volume of the cylinder. Okay, so we have the volume of the cylinder. So now let's calculate the volume of the hemisphere. Now, volume of hemisphere. The volume of hemisphere will be equals to 1/2 multiplied by volume of sphere. Okay, volume of sphere. Because the volume of a sphere is 4/3, okay, multiplied by pi r cubed. That is, r is the what? The radius. So half of a sphere is hemisphere. So which means this will be 1/2 multiplied by 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so this will become 2/3 pi r cubed. So this is the volume of hemisphere. So to be able to calculate the volume of hemisphere, so the volume of hemisphere will be 2/3 times 3.142, which is pi, then multiply by the radius, which is what? 2.9 raised to the power of 3. So this is the radius. This is the radius, okay? Okay, and then this is the length of the cylinder. We have the length of the cylinder to be 6.8. Okay, so let's get the value for volume of hemisphere. Okay, so we have 3.142 multiplied by 2.9, okay, raised to the power of 3. Okay, 2.9 raised to the power of 3, then multiply by 2. That will be 153.26. Okay, so we have volume of hemisphere to be 153.26. So we can now divide that by 3. Okay, so 153.26. 153.26 divided by 3. That will be 5.51.087. 51.087. And that will be in cubic centimeters. Cubic centimeters. So now we want to calculate the volume of the solid shape. So this is the volume of the hemisphere. Okay, this is the volume of the hemisphere. Okay, the volume of the hemisphere, okay, the volume of the hemisphere is 51.087 cubic centimeters. So this is the volume of the hemisphere. So volume of solid figure, volume of solid figure is equals to volume of cylinder plus volume of hemisphere. So the volume of the cylinder is what we have here as 179.68, then plus volume of hemisphere, which is 51.087. Okay, so when we add it to 179.68, that will be 230.77. So that will be 230.77. Okay, 230.77 in cubic centimeters. So now we are told to write, okay, give your answer to 3 significant figure. So to 3 significant figure, that will be 231 cubic, centimeters. That will be toward to 3 significant figure, and this is the volume of the solid shape to 3 significant figure. Now we've come to the end of this session. Okay, please don't forget to like, to hit the like button, to share, and also to subscribe to our channel. Bye bye. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.